Thank you very much.
Whoa, that was insane. I can't believe that. A Silk Song dropped, FromSoft dropped, like a new Donkey Kong game. Yo! Whoa, nice new place you got here, man. Oh, is that the... You watching the Switch 2 Direct? Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a new FromSoft game and stuff. Crazy. Oh, yeah. I moved back home. Like, too expensive living on my own. But yeah, the Switch announcement was crazy. I was like, what the heck, FromSoft and stuff? Yeah, I know, it's amazing, but like, they didn't mention anything about the price. I wonder why they didn't mention anything about the price. I mean, it can't be more than like 400, right? Nah, yeah, no way, dude. Nah, nothing more than 400 at least. Yeah, I mean, I've had a look. It's $450. It's $450. That's not too bad. But the games. Yeah, what about the games? They're $80. Ah, it's fine. I'll just get a new one and like get one of the most recent ones so it has like an exploit so I can homebrew. What's that? Why would you say? Oh no. What is that? You never say the home. Oh, is that? It was good knowing you, man. What the hell? God, I hate this game. But you know what I don't hate? The Steam Deck. So, let me just show you something. So, in front of me is a variation of different homebrewed consoles I own. Some of these are end of life, like the Wii U and the 3DS, and some of them are the Nintendo Switch, which isn't as much an end of life console, but I kind of consider it to be. The Switch and the Wii U are more like party game devices. The 3DS is kind of a portability kind of device, and the Mii Mini, which kind of is a vertical handheld, which plays up to PlayStation 1 games, is an emulation device which I use to travel with. It's something I kind of put in my pocket a lot of time to take with me places. All of those are useless in comparison to this thing. They're not actually useless, I'll get into that, but yeah, this is the Steam Deck OLED. This is the best purchase I think I've ever made in my whole life, because this console is like actually incredible. The amount of like versatility and capability of this thing, it is genuinely insane. I can't believe the things I can do with it. So this video is going to be detailing the kinds of things I do with the Steam Deck, talk about how I use it for gaming on Steam, as well as non-Steam gaming, as well as emulation and streaming as well. I just want to give you a quick story. When I come home from work, my 9-to-5 slave labor job, I don't particularly want to sit at my desk and play through a full game. So normally you'd find me like either this or like this. Because of that, I've been like just sitting brain rotting on Instagram most of the day. And I decided I didn't want to do that anymore. I want to actually like do something worthwhile than brain rot away. So I bought this little console. I say little, it's quite big. It's 8 inches. And in comparison to the Switch's 7 inches. I'll just show you a comparison now. So in comparison here, this is the Switch LCD. And you can kind of see that the difference is quite substantial. Even the weight of the Switch in comparison to the weight of the Steam Deck, sometimes, well, a lot of times, my hands fall asleep, so I kind of have to move to the side when using this console. That happens with the Switch, not as often though. It tends to happen more with the Steam Deck, to be honest. The first thing I want to touch on is streaming on this device. I know that's a weird way to start instead of like performance or something, but I just gotta show you something real quick. Hey you.
Oh mate.
Yeah you. Just look down for a second. You see that cable right there? Yeah, so that cable connects to that. Now that connects to that, and those connect to this, and this, and all of that connects to this box right here. That all connects to this box here, which connects to the router. This is the power line. My whole room, which I stay in, which is in the back over there, all works off of this. The power line I bought is a mix of a power line plus a router, which takes this Wi-Fi network from here and pushes it there. It's actually made for thicker walls, but I kind of just use it because I need a network in the back, and this network doesn't reach, even 2.4 gigahertz doesn't reach. So there's no way of making it boost or anything. So I thought of this idea of, hey, if a network switch just takes a connection from the back of your router, switches it between 8 different devices, and this is essentially an Ethernet, or claims to be, couldn't I just take this, put a switch on it, and make a reliable connection for all of my different devices? So as you've seen, my network setup is pretty crazy, is the best way to describe it. And I'm just gonna kind of show what I can do in terms of streaming on this device, because even I was surprised with how versatile it is. First of all, I'm going to talk about Chiaki. Chiaki is a streaming service for PlayStation consoles. If you don't own a PlayStation console, you won't be able to utilize this at all. You need a PlayStation, and I have a PS5, and it is always in sleep mode. And it's always in sleep mode because of this application. So there is this, and there is Xbox Game Pass, which Persona right here is running off of. So there is an app on Steam you can buy for, I bought it for about £5. I'll convert the dollars up there. And it's called Essbee Play. Essbee Play is a great little app, which is like an all-in-one utility with a nice little UI that is very capable and is basically made for Steam. When I'm in the other section of the house, the internet is much better than here. It's more stable, and I seem to get very little dips and drops. But when I'm playing from here, even though it's the same network, it tends to be a lot more finicky and a lot more latency. When it comes to PlayStation, it doesn't seem to be the case. Maybe because it's running off my PlayStation and not off of cloud. I'll show you the performance now.
Yeah, I know this probably isn't enough stimulation. Okay, bring her in. Alright, easy now, easy. Okay, this should be good.
Few things to know is this display in person looks amazing, but I'm finding it very difficult to show the kind of accuracy of the colors on a camera. But do understand that this is an OLED screen. It will almost always look good just because of how, pixel perfect a lot of these colors are. When you're using a PlayStation controller, you have the touchpad in the center of the controller, which you're able to, use your map and things with. In this case, the center controller would be used for photo mode. Since we don't have that on the Steam Deck, we have these two little inputs here. These are generally used for mouse movement, and really, they're kind of like macro keys. Anything you want to program to, you can. But they're a touchpad. You have touch sensitivity. You can determine their direction. When I tap, it kind of gives me a little haptic vibration. And if I clicked, it would go into photo mode. Since Chiaki automatically configures that this will be your little touchpad in the center for your PlayStation. Yeah, it seems to be a great experience, and I played quite a substantial portion of the game just on the Steam Deck like this. But when you're done with the game, you would normally have to sleep the console. But with Chiaki, it kind of gives you this little option. So on the back here on your Steam Deck, you can just press this little button, and it will give you the option to disconnect and sleep the console. So when you do this, it will automatically just put your console to sleep. That is my PlayStation, and as you can see, this is the general Chiaki menu. I have set it up on my console so that I can boot it from sleep. I've also set up on Chiaki that it automatically connects to this console, as this is the only console I have. But if you have other consoles within your network, you're also able to create shortcuts and ways of connecting via Chiaki. The other thing I wanted to show was the Xbox Play app. You've already seen this kind of working previously, and you've seen the UI. Persona, as I told you previously, is a game I have for streaming, and I'll show you the performance now.
Okay, let's get some more stimulation going.
You don't see anything if you're not in it. Okay, I get it. That's
Yeah, that's going on my screen.
As you probably saw there, in terms of cloud play, the Xbox app is very good when I am using it again in the other house when I'm trying to, play and things and stream. It's very, very comfortable, and it does work well. But when I try and do it from here, it does seem to give me that latency a little bit. Now that I've spoken about streaming and you've kind of seen my network and how things work, the next thing I want to talk about is Steam gaming performance. So games that are on Steam that you can run on the console itself, and kind of performance it gives you. There is a variation of different levels. There's verified, non-verified. There's verified, playable, and unplayable. They're the three kind of categories Steam gives you for this device, and it lets you pick and choose if you really want to play a game on this device. The developers can verify it. Now, more often than not, the verified logo is usually a good sign. It means that the game will probably run at medium to low settings, and it will run well. It will be a good experience. Sometimes that can not be the case when it comes to things like the Oblivion remake, which are verified, but it takes so much effort to get it working. Most people just don't recommend it. So the first game I wanted to just show you is Resident Evil 4, which is, in my opinion, quite a heavy title. I played this with very high power draw, and because of that, I do expect relatively playable performance. Since I've been playing it for about 10 hours, I've been playing a lot of the game on this device. I'm near the end. It's been great. I've gone almost 60 frames per second, 50 to 60 most of the way through. I've been playing on low to medium settings, and I'll kind of just quickly go through, show you some of the settings, and then show you some of the gameplay.
Yeah, I'm not going to show you any stimulation this time. Just watch the gameplay, okay? You don't need constant stimulation. I'll put on some background music because there's no audio.
Even though it is running on the most performance, it's about 2 hours of battery life playing Resident Evil, and on the highest performance on these settings. And I did seem to always get maybe it dipped down to about 30, but it wasn't off, and generally it runs at 40 to 50, sometimes even 60 in more closed environments. Another game that I think is really well optimized for the Steam Deck, obviously it's a Valve game, so it works so well. But this is, again, a very old game, Portal 2. I run it on the highest settings, and it kind of just runs incredibly. This screen is 90 Hz because it's the OLED variant. If you got the LCD, it'd be 60. But man, I can't play this game on a regular monitor anymore because of how good it looks on this little console. So I will show you a bit of gameplay from this.
Okay, you've kind of seen the gameplay before, and this is a lot of me just failing to, configure this Portal puzzle, so I'll give you a bit of stimulation, okay?
So those were my two main examples for kind of performance on the Steam Deck. I mean, don't expect it to play every AAA title. It won't play like Monster Hunter Wilds and things. I do have it installed on here. It does not run well. I have watched videos of people trying to run that game on this console. There's kind of a level of understanding you have to give this console in terms of its performance. So in terms of streaming, obviously Steam streaming works. So as you can see right now, it says install on Monster Hunter. I don't have it installed because this game does not run on this console. It is way too, difficult. As you probably see in my last video, I'm not going to rant more about this. If you open Steam on another desktop, you will be able to stream from it. So as you probably see here, there's a little arrow icon next to install. If I hover over that, click on it, it will allow me to pick stream from Funny Machine, which is my main computer. It is called the Funny Machine. So the game launched, and you may see there's 2,500 frames in the top right corner. Streaming via Steam, it is doing nothing, but on my display, it is showing the game running. I can kind of, scroll over, and if I went back to my webcam, it is still stuck on the Monster Hunter Wilds screen. I'm not sure why it does this. Probably has something to do with my network setup here in the back. When I am in the main house again, it does seem to be a lot better. It does seem to, work, and I haven't had as many problems. There has been a few, but this has been the worst experience for me. If you have a better network, this most likely won't be a problem, but for me this has been. So I tend to not use it as much, and what? So that was a lot to digest. I did talk about a lot. The two things of like streaming and Steam games, and a lot of people would buy the Steam Deck for the Steam games. But basically, so the next points I'm going to bring up is firstly customization ability on the Steam Deck. And I just wanted to delve into that a bit further in this kind of like setup I've got right now. Instead of looking just at the Steam Deck, I'm gonna go square. The customization capabilities on the Steam Deck is pretty amazing. I'll show you kind of the before and after, and there are a lot of different plugins and variety of ways of doing things. The main thing you need is something called Decky, and I will try to and I'll put the GitHub link and also kind of show you some of the UI on the Steam Deck itself. It's very customizable because it's Linux, and that was kind of my point. Linux is the reason the Steam Deck is so good and capable. Linux is being adapted outside of just being that one operating system, that cybersecurity guys. So I'm very happy with that. And the other two topics I'm going to talk about are the emulation side of things and the non-Steam side of things, because there are other launchers outside of Steam that people may want to play. Let me say this just now, so we're out of the way. This is Linux. Linux does not run anti-cheat, so Fork Knife will not run on this console. And the emulation side of things. Now, does not like emulation because of their properties and their greed. So there are a few games I'm going to talk about. There are two games, but I'm not going to show any gameplay of those games because they are 4 and
This is the Monado's power!
Chronicles X. So you probably know what games those are. And I'm not going to show gameplay because I want to make this video and I don't want it taken down and I don't want to get sued because I am showing gameplay. The reason I'm doing all this and I'm kind of making this out is I'm just saying that the games run well, and this is a very capable device, and that's why I said this thing at the start of, hey, the Switch is useless. It's not useless. It's a great device and the library is massive. But it is very outdated, and the Switch 2 is coming out. I think it's kind of end of life now. And the last part is going to be like kind of a technical guide on some of the systems and ways of doing things on this device. So I'll be going to the Linux desktop and showing you kind of what you can do. So first off, I'm going to talk about Zenless Zero. This is the computer game, as many people like to call it. I don't consider it that. I liked the combat for a while. I don't play this as much. It is high up on my Steam Steam Deck, but the new update came out, so I've been playing it. I'm not justifying why I play this game. I just play it. So as you probably know, this is not a Steam game. It's a Hoyoverse game, as it says right there. There was a little bit of setting up that I had to do to get this game to run the way it does. It runs quite well. It is locked to 40, and I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, but this can run on phones. But yeah, it can run on phones, you're right, actually. It's not that impressive. But I think this is just a good indication of showing a game that's not meant for the Steam Deck, you know, running just based on the performance, because it is just, you know, a computer inside this thing. So I've loaded into some combat here, and I'll show you some of the gameplay.
There's more than enough neuron activation in this game for you to keep your, you know, attention on it. So I'm not going to add any more ADHD content here.
You may have seen in the top left screen, but generally when I'm playing the game, I don't tend to notice them as much. It kind of feels smooth and very playable to me, and this is because I've tried playing the game on my phone. It's a Pixel. It doesn't run the game very well. I just wanted to quickly go over some of the options on a game that isn't made for the Steam Deck. Now, something that I couldn't seem to get working was full screen on this game. There is options to, you know, put this game into a full screen mode. You can do it via Steam as well. So if you go into Steam settings here, there is this option here for scaling mode. You can change it so that it does fit the whole screen. Now, when I did use this, I found it to be very jarring, and I'll show you just a little bit of gameplay with this full screen. Now, because it is 720, it still looks okay, but it kind of isn't scaling correctly, and a lot of the characters look stretched across the screen, so I tend to just keep on auto. So I'm okay with playing with these small black borders on the bottom and top, a slightly lower vertical resolution, and to me that just looked very blurry, so I have left it as this for now. I can't seem to find any real fix for this. There are Reddits and things talking about fixes, but I've left it like this for now. I do run it at 60 frames per second with the VSync enabled, and most things configured to where I think it kind of works out better for the screen. Anti-stropic sampling is something I tend to put as high as I can in most games, because I find this makes the biggest difference on this display at least. And then since it's running at 60, a lot of times it struggles to hit that 60 mark, so I came to settings here and I limited the frame rate to just be 40 Hertz. As you saw, that game Zenless Zero did run quite well, and the final thing I'm going to touch on is emulation. Now, this is Xbox 360 emulation. I'll be playing Azura's Wrath, just a little bit of gameplay to show you how it runs, and it is a 30 FPS lock on this game, but it seems to run very, very good. I kind of have no complaints. I played through the first whole chapter with the Steam Deck, and you know, I have it on my Xbox too. I can play on that, but I mean, it's just so nice to have in this little portable package, I think. So I'm getting an error because the Steam Deck just updated, so I think there is some problem with my EmuDeck. I will try and fix this and come back to this game.
Why isn't it working?
So I did eventually fix it. It seems to be something that in the update that's caused this to happen. It has happened before, as I've seen in a couple of forums, and it's just something that needs to be hotfixed to be able to use Xenia on the Steam itself. Right now I'm showing you some gameplay from Azura's Wrath. Yeah, to be honest, this was on my other phone. It wasn't as clear, so it's quite difficult to see what's actually happening on the screen. I was kind of able to play this whole first episode like completely fine, and it should be stable for you hopefully by the time this video is out. And to be honest, that is one thing that's kind of a problem with having a Steam Deck, is having the fact that you have to rely on other developers to develop their emulator, not only for Windows, which is already more popular, and it's already an emulator which already is in development. It's not something that's, you know, out, and it's not the exact console. It's something they're developing over time and improving, but then they'll have to go out their way to develop it for Linux as well. So it makes it very difficult for them to, you know, keep up with these updates and things. And it was just unfortunate that that this update came, and I ended up updating it, and you know, now I can't show you, you know, good gameplay, so we're stuck with that. Now in terms of customization, there is an application called Decky. Now Decky allows you to install plugins, and the plugins icon will come down here and allow you to change different themes. So this whole kind of, you know, theme here is custom. I've added, you know, the gray background and things. I'll show you what it looks like without any of this. So this is the kind of base Steam Deck look. I kind of customized it for my own way. This is also kind of a very, very nice, like sleek design, but you know, I wanted to add some little flair and kind of make it my own, so I did that. It's very easy to customize. There's many like different themes and things people have made, and you just kind of go through the plugins manager and you'll be able to find what you're looking for here. The plugins are great. They kind of have a lot of different versatility. Things like playtime shows me how long I've been playing at the moment and throughout the week. CSS loader is what I use to change all of the different themes and things. Animation changer is what I use to change, obviously, the animation when you saw that PSP starting screen and things. Bluetooth is, you know, Bluetooth, and this is these two are kind of, and these two applications allow me to mess with my controllers and things for if I wanted to dock the Steam Deck and play it. So this is a great little part of the Steam Deck where people have already developed and made things to allow you to customize the experience how you would like. And you know, if you want any more applications, they're on this little shop up here. Another really cool thing I added to my whole Steam Deck was when you go to a game, for example, a non-Steam game, a lot of times it won't have artwork, or maybe it has artwork that you don't personally like. And I added Titles DB, I believe it's called, and that allows me to just change the artwork of anything. So right now you see it doesn't say it, and then if I click again, it'll say change artwork, and I can kind of, you know, customize and pick which artwork I want, which I kind of like. It's pretty nice. And just now that I'm back in my own theme and things, I just wanted to show you quickly the suspend animation I've got. It's a cute Windows XP shutting down to suspend the device. So the last thing I wanted to kind of go over some of the technical stuff. So here is the desktop mode. You can navigate the mouse using this little touchpad, and it's also touchscreen. So if you tap, the mouse will go to where you need. So EmuDeck is kind of the all-in-one emulation, you know, like hub for everything emulation based. So when you install EmuDeck, everything is pre-done for you, and all the emulators install by themselves. The only thing you're required to get is some emulators require a BIOS to run, and those are copyrighted. So EmuDeck asks you yourself to get those if you have the console, or if you want to, you know, find them yourself online. And also this is what you will use to configure all of your ROMs and your emulators, and if you want to add any more emulators, it'll be through this this little application. And it's very, very simple. There's a lot of different utilities you can do. You can add cloud saves and things. I haven't really done too much on EmuDeck because I kind of just used it for more of testing rather than something use as a a full-time thing. When I own most of the consoles, I don't really see the point in this as much, but if you do want to maybe like try out one of these emulators, you can definitely do it through here. I'll just quickly show you some of the emulators that are installed and the things you can play on this. So as you can see, there's quite a lot of emulators: Wii U emulator and Dolphin and Duck Stations on the DS ones. There's quite a substantial amount. Some of these aren't getting updated. For example, Jinx is no longer getting updates to myself, so I've added Citron, which is now currently getting updates. My Xenia no longer is working. All I have to do is wait for the emulators to be updated and update them right here. Or if I go into this store icon here, this is the kind of Linux store. It's how you install most of your applications on Linux. This will prompt me if I do have an update on one of the emulators, and then I just install it. Right now there isn't any, but generally you'll see maybe an icon here, an icon up here, a little arrow just indicating that you need to update one of your emulators, and it's all just kind of here, so don't worry about it too much. It's quite simple, and kind of once you have the BIOS and ROMs for the emulators you want, it's very, very self-explanatory. Now the other two things I have is NonSteamLancher, which is used for obviously NonSteamLancher. So I use Hoyoverse on NonSteamLancher. So let me just quickly show you how it functions. So now we're in it. You see kind of a substantial amount of launchers. So most of these I think do work. You kind of just click them and they'll prompt you to install them, and then they will go into your Steam library. So I did try getting Xbox Game Pass to work on this. It seems to not want to work, so I kind of gave up on that. So that's why I'm running stuff through the cloud. That is one of the downsides of using something like Linux. A lot of the Microsoft functionalities like Word and Adobe Premiere and different things won't work on Linux, but a lot of them aren't a big deal for the Steam Deck, since it's more of just a gaming centered device rather than create. So when I did install this Hoyo Play, it kind of just went into my Steam library, and then I went into there, I assigned where I want the location of Genshin Impact and Zenless Zone Zero, and then from there I just installed them, and they kind of they should drop into your Steam library just from detecting it on the non-games launcher. But the tutorial I watched also gave another application. Now you may have seen Hello Game Launcher on the start of the screen as well. This is kind of how I uploaded both of my games to Steam. This just kind of finds the directory and then also allows you to pick your Proton version. Proton is the kind of like the nuts and bolts, as you'd like to say, kind of the software side of running a lot of these games and things. So you can determine what kind of Proton version you want, and the newer ones generally do tend to run it better in some cases, but you kind of have to fiddle with it. I find Proton 8 for Zenless Zone Zero at least works the best and is the most stable. Quick side note, because this video is getting very long, it does Heroic Games Launcher does also do Epic Games Launcher and GOG.com. So if you have games on those and you want to play them locally on Steam Deck, you can. It supports Prime Gaming as well. Quite simple. As soon as you link your account, it will kind of give you the full library of games you own. I have tried installing a few like Hoyo Play games. It doesn't work. It's not very worthwhile trying. Just if the game launches natively and just launches straight into the game, it will work most likely. But if it is going through a launcher, it probably won't. So yeah, that was kind of like all I wanted to talk about the Steam Deck. Sorry about some of the maybe noise. There's a fan in the back, which because it's so hot in here, man. And I had to like record this video twice because I was messing with trying different angles and things. This kind of screen may have been out of focus and things for some of the video, and that's just it's all I can do with the phone, and capturing on the computer. That might have been a lot to take in, all the different kind of features and things you can do with the device. I personally love the kind of amount of versatility the device gives you, but it isn't for everyone. I can see people like still thinking, oh, a Switch is a better, fit for them, or if you have kids, it makes sense to buy something like a Switch because it's less configuration. You can just kind of hand them the console and they just go about their day and use it as they like. Some of the consoles I mentioned at the start, like the 3DS, it's not actually useless. It's more just when I have the Steam Deck, it feels like such a great piece of hardware, and even to hold it feels better. The 3DS has an arbitrary charging port. It no longer really, USB-C is everywhere, so having this weird little square charging port is so strange. And the screen isn't as good, the resolution isn't as good. You can upscale a lot more when you're using something like the Steam Deck. Again, the functionality of the console is there, and the touch screen is there, and the backwards compatibility and the GBA games you can play. So there are reasons to buy each of the separate consoles. And a lot of these other consoles are a lot less expensive. The Steam Deck is quite a hefty price tag, but I think it's worthwhile for the kind of package you're getting, and the amount of support, and the more and more developers are kind of pushing more games to be developed and running on the Steam Deck day one, just because of how popular the console is. I don't really want to give up my Switch because I use my Switch for my party games. But recently, Steam has allowed for Joy-Con functionality. So the main reason I was using my Switch in the first place was because a lot of party games I liked having on my Switch because of how many Joy-Cons I own. But now that Joy-Con functionality is on Steam itself, a lot of these games I already own on Steam. Ultimate Chicken Horse and Overcooked. These are sorts of games that I play with a lot of people, and I already I only really use the Switch because of the controllers. Otherwise, I do think it's kind of an end-of-life console, and a lot of the games do not run very well and are quite laggy. So there's a lot to like about Steam Deck, as I've kind of glazed it this whole video. Again, the thing of having it on Linux means that there are limits to what it can do, and you kind of do have to wait for things to develop, and it does take a bit of patience and tinkering, but not a lot. Really, all of the consoles I've homebrewed, as I said at the start of the video, took a lot more work than the Steam Deck did in terms of setting up and getting all of these different functionalities to work. And most of it's just software. You don't have to mess with any like internal hardware stuff, although you can if you'd like to. I've been on the Steam Deck forums to kind of look for a lot of solutions to that previous problem, and a lot of people have had kind of similar things to me, where Steam Deck just works. When you need it to do something, it does it. And a lot of these consoles that are coming out, they do the same sort of functionality but on Windows. And if you want to install Steam OS, you can. Valve is launching Steam OS to come out as an open source thing for a lot of these handhelds. So that is good that these handhelds are getting the capability to run Steam OS natively on the console itself, because having the Steam OS with a much better performance is kind of ideal. A lot of people have had problems with the Steam OS running on other handhelds. They have tried it, and really things on the Steam Deck just kind of work. They developed for the Steam Deck, so it's all kind of centered around having the console because of the popularity, really, because things will be developed for the console specifically. And even when things aren't developed for the console, when a Steam Deck 2 does come out, and people no longer really want a Steam Deck, it's still a great console. Even if less and less things are being developed for it, it's still running Linux. It's still probably run the same operating system, and you'll still probably find ways. If Valve stops supporting the first deck, there'll probably be a community out there that will continue to put up patches and create ways of doing it. But because it's on Linux, generally it should just continue to support on this one device. So yeah, this is my video about the Steam Deck. I think it's a great device, and you should probably buy it if you travel a lot and you want to just mess with it and play some games. And if you have a big backlog, I think, like me, it's a really good device just to clear that. I mean, I've been playing so many games, just like getting through them. I was playing it. Sorry about some of the maybe fan noise you've heard. It's really hot right now, and this room gets really hot. Hopefully, the next time you see me, this door will be on, and some of this junk behind me will be cleared, because it was bothering me a lot in the video, but I just kind of left it. Man, getting home from work, it's exhausting. Thank you again, Alexander, for letting me use your, Dark Souls GIF at the end of the video. Basically, this video took way too long to make. I've been I started like 3 months ago, then I've been procrastinating it because I've been playing on my Steam Deck. And then I, for 3 days straight, I've just been working on it, well, 2 days, 1.5 days, I'll say. Not really truly 2 days, but I've just kind of been sitting working this video for ages, so I don't know when the next one's gonna come out. Maybe in a year. I don't know. I have no time these days, so yeah. This video took so long to make. Maybe I'll just make gaming videos again, man. It's too much effort.